So, you have accidentally stumbled your way into political discourse. Nice to meet you. I like politics. You could even say it's my whole personality. And as I'm sure you are aware, in the present American binary, there are two main sides. The idiots and the nice idiots. A third group, though, I have noticed has gained a lot of traction amongst circles of pseudo-intellectuals on the dark depths of Reddit. They took an elegant and virtuous concept and turned it into a dystopian hellscape in the not-so-distant future. Those that are not followers of this ideology and read the title of this video will have picked up on what I'm so descriptively describing right now. Libertarians and anarcho-capitalists. Anarchy is one thing. One thing I am particularly a fan of. But anarcho-capitalism, much less libertarianism, does not hold up to any scrutiny. Nevertheless, a critique of the whole ideology. Now, if you aren't already aware what the beliefs of the contemporary Libertarian Party in the US are, the Enlightenment values of freedom and personal liberty are the main goal. They achieve this through complete individual freedom and nobody telling them what to do. Who better to explain libertarianism than the most famous libertarian himself, Ron Swanson?
Libertarianism is all about individual liberty, and it should never be defined by the terms liberal or conservative.
And communism is no good.
That's right. Big swing and a miss.
Now, it is important to distinguish that the tomfoolery of this ideology doesn't come from the premise of not having hierarchy. No, friend. It is the age-old scapegoat of every internet leftist. You see, no structural hierarchy under a capitalist organization of the economy leads to quite the opposite of freedom. If you are not one of the wealthiest members of society, there will be no freedom, kind of like right now. Who's going to solve disputes? Judges appointed by corporations or the government? Who is going to build and maintain roads? Corporations? If it's corporations, what's to stop them from acting in their own self-interest and not caring about yours? If the free market is truly free, you are not. You see, libertarians are so close to having a well-fleshed out ideology. So fucking close. But just like me on dating apps, they fumble the bag. If they merely just thought things through completely and had the ability to think forward to consequences, it would all be fine.
Requires licenses for far too many things. The government requires licenses for people to broadcast radio. The government requires licenses to get married. They require a license to drive. What's next? Requiring a license to make toast in your own damn toaster? Absolutely not.
Libertarian socialism, which is not at all common in the US, is a far more giga-chad, big-brain intellectual ideology than anarcho-capitalism. Libertarian socialism harnesses the true freedom of the individual without the shit-stained, adult diaper-wearing corporate overlords that we see today. And now I know what you're going to say. Oh, aren't libertarian and socialism opposites? Oh, quite the contrary, my NPC friend. You see, the term libertarian actually comes from the left. It was used in a time where saying that you were a top G socialist was against the law. It was co-opted by the intellectual American right to promote corporate interests in the game Cyberpunk 2077. So one can be a left-wing libertarian just as one can be a right-wing authoritarian. Let me ask you a question. Anonymous YouTube user who's about to click off this video. Who is more free? Someone who was born into a poor family in an anarcho-capitalist, not-so-distant dystopia where the only freedom they have is to generate profit for their overlord and own a one-bedroom shack that they call a house? Or someone born into a family in a Chad socialist utopia where there are social safety nets like free healthcare and housing, all collectively owned. No CEO profiting off of your labor, and you, along with the others, cooperatively own your business and get to democratically decide hours and wages. The later is definitely more free. If someone doesn't have to worry about going into poverty because they get sick, they will have way more opportunity for personal liberation. You see, I care about humanity as a whole. I want everyone to live the best lives they possibly can and have equal opportunity. I think democracy is pretty cool too.
Libertarians helping somebody.
We already have 1% of the population owning more wealth than the rest. That extreme would be exaggerated with more laissez-faire capitalism and would lead to an amplification of the situations that we have now. Anarcho-capitalist societies will always fail because human rights like healthcare and water will still be commodified, which will lead to oligarchies that could set crazy prices and will bribe politicians to betray your interests and help them. Without state-instituted social safety nets or an end to the commodity chain, which is impossible under capitalism, housing will not be free, and neither will healthcare. Every inequality that we experience now would be amplified, because the only thing that can hold capitalism back from pounding you with its millimeter defeater cock, albeit horribly, is the state, which then just institutionalizes the inequalities, abandons working class interests, and makes the case for its demise. Don't be fooled into thinking you can just yank your bootstraps up higher than the next guy. You will be more miserable under a laissez-faire society. Look, I get wanting to be different in the present American binary of politics. But you can be different without being a cuck to corporations and a laughing stock to anyone who has some semblance of brain cells. Now, if you are a libertarian watching this, and I am friends with you in real life, I still love you. And even if we aren't friends, you're probably pretty cool. Don't take this personally, but get a new ideology, homie. Even my wannabe Vosh ass was able to see right through you. I would implore you to watch the movie Mad Max or play the game Cyberpunk 2077 and then rethink your position. In conclusion, a system that necessitates infinite growth with finite resources will never make life better for the working class. Everything that you need will be commodified and corporate autocracy will most definitely form. You will be seen as one thing and one thing only, a means of profit. We are hurtling towards this type of society at ludicrous speed, and together we can prevent it.